I think that these Frankenstacks, as I like to call them, get built because you've got these MSPs that over time have just added on security tools that they either think are keeping their clients safe, or they are just building some margin or revenue in it for the client. Like they go to a conference, they go, oh yeah, this is a big problem. They hear a vendor speak, this is a big problem. We should go out there. Here's some sales materials. Here's a battle card you can use. Take that in front of your client and sell it to them. The client goes, oh, it's a big problem. All right. How much is it going to cost? Okay, I guess you talked me into it. Here you go. And then out goes the tool. But why? Why? Like, who in your team is evaluating the tool? How does it connect to the business problems that the client is having? If it's literally just to address risk, that's fine. But what risks? Have you evaluated any of those risks? And so I think the big problem here, Jacob, is that these MSPs, most of them don't take the time to understand the problems that their clients are dealing with. And they're selling them things that they don't necessarily need. And I'm not making the statement that you don't need a good MDR. You do. I'm not making the statement that you don't need security training. You do. You do need these things in place. There are some strict fundamentals that I wouldn't sacrifice, but I think that you've got to take the time to understand their workflows. You got to focus on what matters to them most, and you got to do that first. And then you can start to evaluate against a specific set of controls, demonstrate the risks, and then use the tools, because these are just, as we call them in the HIPAA security rule, they're just technical safeguards. That's your tools. And what tools do we need to actually plug these gaps and solve these problems? And it should be answered after the fact. It's got to be driven by something.
You also got me curious. It seems like sometimes you have a balance between layered protection and operational simplicity.
Mm-hmm.
So I was curious, how do you find that balance? Like, what for you really helps you strike the right balance between layered protection and operational simplicity?
Yeah, so I think the lack of operational simplicity comes from just piling on tools, building that Frankenstack, as I call it. I like to look at it as a covering your gaps. And the only way you can cover your gaps is if you know what they are. So start there. What are your gaps? Figure out what tools can solve those problems and use the fewest number of tools as possible. The real game changer here is the culture that you build and the processes that you implement and wrap around everything that you're doing. And it's how that culture gets built. Consistently talking about these risks, making sure there's people in the organization that are bought in and having these conversations with you, and wrapping those processes into everything that you do. And the culture comes from there. I've seen it happen with these clients of mine that I've really worked hard on doing this with. And I had a client say to me just a couple of months ago who, we've been working through a risk management program now with them for, I don't know, 14, 15 months. And he finally came in one of the risk management meetings and he said, wow, this is so cool. I never thought this was even possible. Now I know that if we have a breach, this is the team. This is how we're going to handle it. These are the processes in place. Now I know what that fire drill is going to look like. And it was cool to see that kind of a transformation happen with somebody like this and be able to say that, who a year prior to 2 years ago would never have said that.
As we know, not everyone needs to have all these different agents, all these different things. So what do you think about visibility versus complexity when it comes to agents? Because you can really dive in, add all these different pieces to your stack, and they can get real complex. But how do you balance out the visibility versus complexity piece there?
So here's the thing. We love our agents, right? We put so many agents across all these machines because they're security tools, and people have taught us to go out and tell our clients that security is a layered approach. Got to have layers, right? But what does that really, really mean? Again, I think that you have to be evaluating it against something. I think API driven is great. I think a cloud first mentality is really, really good. But I think you have to have a way to verify all of that. What does that really, really mean? So some of the cloud tools that I work with will give me all of that benchmark. Like, what are we benchmarking against CIS? Are we benchmarking against the NIST cybersecurity framework? Do we have a way to evaluate the gaps that we have in our security? And if is there prescriptive advice that we can put in place? We've had access to Microsoft Secure Score for years and years and years. And while I would call that rudimentary at best, it's still something that you can use to evaluate the security posture of your Microsoft platform. So yeah, I mean, I think that you're right. Not everything needs to be an agent. We're seeing more and more of this stuff go towards the cloud, but there's a lot of tools out there, and I've evaluated a lot of the tools. And the best ones, the ones that I like the best, always bring it back to a cybersecurity framework. They give me a way to evaluate the gaps in the infrastructure and identify the risks that come from those gaps. And when I have that type of a capability, it makes the tool a lot more powerful. And I think it's a great way to allow us to have fewer agents as we sort of become more cloud focused and have this cloud first mentality.